Go ahead. Whitney, striking one.
This is the net they're on. Operations or Whitney, strike team 1.
Operations, go ahead.
Yeah, we've got Perryville crew has deployed shelters on the dozer line. Do you copy? They report being trapped and having had to deploy shelters.
What crew is that?
Perryville?
Copy, Perryville.
That's affirmative. We have crews in that area on hose lines. I'm going to contact them, see if they're in any danger. It's blowing up on them. It's crossing the line. You guys, it could hook around you. I want everybody to go ahead and pull out.
Yeah,
You got anyone else down here?
I'm on the upper end of that.
We got the Navajo 2 crew moving them out, Model 70 out. We're moving everybody to the
Yeah, pull everybody back, and I'll get with operations and find out what they want to do.
approximately a 300-foot fire coming across the road that's got you guys pinched in there right now.
Okay, do we have access out? Can we make it out right now?
That's negative. When we came through, the fire was about 50 feet from the road.
Okay, just go ahead and continue out to Control Road. If you need to, your escape route is to the east, out to Tunnel Village and the highway.
Copy.
Hey guys! Our access is cut off right now, too, out of here. Where's Whitney at, you know? You know what he is?
Down the road, he got cut off.
Down this road?
Back down the main road, trying to keep it across the whole road.
Okay. Right here for a little while. Yeah, we can't. We're not getting out right now. So.
They're talking about deploying shelters. What does that mean? Okay, what I'm hearing right now is the Perryville crew apparently got trapped by the fire and they've deployed their fire shelters, and they are laying prone on the ground or prostrate on the ground, holding the tin over to protect them from the flame. It's a last-ditch safety effort because it sounds to me like the fire's overrun them.
Got 4 guys in here without shelter. You the guys together. Don't, you know, if you have to, the black is our safety zone. Ready?
So we got both strike teams in, miscellaneous overhead.
We had a water tender crew, but I found out just via gossip that they made it out to Control Road. I can't think of anyone else that was in here.
Sky darkened. A definite calm occurred a few minutes before the blow. A strong blast of wind preceded the fire front. A 50 to 60 mile an hour blast of wind. The Navajo crew. Then the Navajo crew members yelled, "Get out!" All the crew started down the dozer line. Perryville crew member Bill Davenport got cut off by the flames coming across the line. He turned around and started running up the line. Love and Latour were the only ones he saw ahead as they went back up. Latour directed them to deploy shelters as they were running.
Somebody was just here today. Because this wasn't here and that wasn't here. And that was originally up on the road. When we walked off, we went down into the creek there.
You weren't on the dozer line?
Not at that point. Once we got down where we could see that the stream was right there, that's when I stopped yelling at people.
This is the Bonita Creek subdivision where 6 firefighters lost their lives. 5 others were injured. They died trying to protect these homes. It was a battle fought largely in vain.
This is where Ellis passed away.
Make this far? They made it sound like he passed not too far after we passed Hoke. Well, I don't know how far I am, apparently. They have these up here too? I didn't know about any of that.
You walked out with Ellis most of the way.
I was walking out with Ellis. I came across him down towards where the creek met up.
He walked out with you.
Right.
And then laid down on a log.
But
and
I think we came across him at the first place where we initially started to deploy, and then we ended up running up the hill further.
When you got down here with Ellis,
I was making sure Dave was doing what he was supposed to do because he wasn't right. Ellis was with Hoke, passed them both, and I was hot on Dave.
And I think at that point, Ellis just turned and said, "I'm dead."
He just sat down and gave up. The superheated air. I think that's what got him. It just took a little while for him to pass. I'm still shocked that he was walking.
When you heard what had happened to the Perryville crew, were you thinking that could have been me?
Yes, I was. It was a tragic accident. It's really wishing it happened.
The crew boss says poor radio communication was a problem at that Bonita Creek incident. Meanwhile, hot afternoon winds again whipped due east along the rim, forcing...
When was this all planted, do you know?
it was done by the people here that live in Bonita Creek Estates.
And once Dude is finished with one part of the ponderosa pine forest near the rim, this is what's left. The fire has already killed 5 state prison inmates from Perryville and the Department of Corrections supervisor. Their surviving crewmates were at the Payson Ranger Station last night. They were silent. Perhaps it was shock. Whatever it was, the Corrections Department clearly did not want reporters around them.
Do this. Go to the camera.
Oh, gentlemen, report back to them.
Sorry, we're on public property.
No.
No, that's the camera.
Should put your guys' name up there too.
Just a burn victim, man.
Wow. It was a bad thing that happened the other day when all those guys died.
There are 1,600 tired men and women on the fire lines along the rim.
I've never seen a fire in the area as bad as this.
Why is that? Just because it's so dry?
This has been probably the driest year I've seen in 28 years.
It's not cheesy or anything, it's just small. But you know what? It's more than I expected for a prison crew. You know. Sorry, I gotta get a snapshot today.
These men are prisoners, all convicted criminals. The kind of people society likes to tuck away and forget about. But this time we need to remember them not as convicts, but as people, as they remember their comrades who died, not doing something bad, but something very, very good.
I don't know you, but I love you all.
I wish that people would forget what their backgrounds are. We haven't asked the other firefighters what their backgrounds are. They came out here to do a job, and they gave their life for us. I think all that we can say is thank you very much from the bottom of our heart.
The Arizona Department of Corrections is allowing the inmates to go to all 6 funerals, wearing no cuffs, no shackles, no chains. The only running these men will be doing is to the next brush fire that breaks out, where they'll fight side by side like free men in proud memory of their fallen comrades.
The last time I had fallen and gotten up, Robert Carrillo was in front of me, and he turned around and he said, "Run!" And I saw the look of fear in his eyes, and I turned around, and as high as I could see, there was flames. But when I saw that, that was my determination to make it to that road. What I was going to do when I got to that road, I don't know, but it seemed like an escape plan.
What was James Ellis like?
He was one of those people that he didn't speak a lot. Real even-keeled, nice guy. Always willing to help other people. Yeah. I'm sorry.
This is what this is for, Patrick. Gotta let it out. Curtis.
Young, energetic, full of life. The kid had so much to give. So much to give. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. We were pained for our mistakes. But to have this out here, yeah, it's a blessing, but there should be so much more done for his family, not just for his memorial.
It's the ultimate sacrifice.
Yep, but nobody should have to give it. There should be certain implementation.
The Mogollon Rim. The southern edge of the Great Colorado Plateau. The escarpment crosses nearly the entire width of the state of Arizona. The rim is a natural rock feature, soaring in places over 2,000 feet above the surrounding countryside. Because of its great heights, it catches more precipitation than the lower elevations, wringing out the clouds through orographic uplift. It can also create its own weather. The rim country is some 20 plus degrees cooler than the Valley of the Sun and is a vacation wonderland for those who seek respite from harsh summer temperatures. Covered in beautiful ponderosa pines, the forest is a recreationist's dream with camping, boating, fishing, and hiking amongst the most popular pursuits. In the summer, the small towns in the rim country swell with visitors. Many Phoenicians have cabins they escape to in the cooler climate. These forests used to be maintained naturally by small fires that would periodically clean the forest floor, leaving the taller trees unscathed and the forest ecosystem open and healthy. 100 years of fire suppression has left the forest choked, full of small trees and bushes that act as ladder fuels that create devastating crown fires that can decimate entire forests. In the summer, a change in the winds creates the monsoonal flow, bringing the moisture-laden air from Mexico. Massive cumulonimbus clouds form over the rim, creating thunderstorms and lightning. And the lightning starts the fires. June 25th, 1990. The temperature in Phoenix, Arizona soars to a sizzling high of 120 degrees. Under the Mogollon Rim, temperatures reach an unprecedented 106 degrees. The extreme temperatures are felt throughout the entire Southwest, which is also suffering from a 3-year-long drought. The monsoon season is just beginning, and clouds are developing over the rim. At 12:34 p.m., a lightning strike ignites a fire on a steep slope near Dude Creek. By 5 a.m. the next day, the fire will be almost 2,000 acres, and the temperature in Phoenix will hit an all-time high of 122 degrees.
My wife was talking to a neighbor on the phone, and she saw 5 to 10 lightning strikes up over between Diamond Rim and Mogollon Rim. Shortly after that, we could see the smoke start coming up.
It started in fairly steep country right near the base of the Mogollon Rim.
Our air TAC was sitting at the Payson Airport. He responded within 30 seconds after the call, and it was in the air and had 5 air tankers working within 35 minutes.
Get me all of the air tankers you can get. It was a very aggressive initial attack, and the fire subsequently escaped initial attack. A Class 2 team was ordered shortly. By the time the Class 2 team got here, they realized they had a serious problem. Class 2 team ordered a Class 1 team.
You ready? All right, good.
My name is Marty Rose. I worked on Payson Hot Shots for 13 seasons starting in 1985. I was a squad boss. We were broken up into lightning squads. Got fired that day, and I was flown in up into Dude Creek. Initial attack. One load of Payson Heli-Tac had gone in front of us. Gus Tellez and a couple of crew members. They had landed and were improving on a helispot. We flew in, myself and my 2 guys. So we got out of the helicopter and actually made the hike up towards the Highline Trail to the actual fire itself, while Gus stayed back, improving the helispot for more crew members from the hotshot crew to come in. It was already kind of getting crazy. It was an acre or 2, getting up into the crowns. Like, there's nothing we could do. It appeared to me that it had stemmed from a fire ring. It was literally right on the Highline Trail. And I know people have always said lightning. I personally believe it came from an abandoned campfire. Gus was in the middle of cutting a ponderosa tree down. He was kind of focused on what he was doing. He had 2 wedges in a ponderosa tree. I walked up to him and tapped him on the back, and I just pointed at the fire, which was already about to overtake the helispot. Gus looked up and went, "Oh, wow, we got to go." So there's nothing you were going to do. It was just running across the face of the rim, but maybe we could help the spread to the south. That was our plan, and that's what we started working with. I started flagging line for a dozer. Dozer finally got there right about dark, and it didn't have any lights. The dozer operator's a local guy, and he was willing to push trees in the dark, as long as I had a flashlight out in front of him. We decided that wasn't going to be a good idea.
My name's Bill Davenport, and I currently don't work for anybody.
How did you get on the Perryville crew?
Well, first you got to go to jail.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of trouble when I was a kid, nothing too major. Broke into my own house. We'll leave it at that. Too silly to even talk about, really.
One of those things that happens.
Yeah.
How did you get involved with the fire crew?
Actually, they had an open sign-up come up. I figured I'd already been through structural and signed up for it, and I had turned out I had known probably half the guys on the crew already and didn't even know it. It's like gravity for us. Firefighters, they all gravitate to each other.
What kind of training did you guys do?
Pretty by the book intense, because we wanted to be a hotshot crew. I mean, if we're gonna do it, let's do it the right way. Scott Hunt headed up the class right at the Perryville location. There had to be 60 guys. Everybody wants to get out constantly. We were out hoofing the mountains. We were out climbing hills. We spent a lot of time on Adobe Mountain down in North Phoenix, up and down all day, and it's very fatiguing to climb stuff like that. Yeah, Larry Terrell was basically the boss. Sandra was an inmate supervisor.
And that was Sandra's first fire.
Yeah, it was Sandra's first fire, and I'll say it until my deathbed day. Sandra Bachman should not have been on that fire.
Lying just below the Mogollon Rim and surrounded by the Tonto National Forest, Bonita Creek Estates is a private inholding of 160 acres. The subdivision was originally homesteaded by the Randall and Pyle families, who found abundant water, game, and grass in the shadow of the rim. Today, the 60 seasonal and year-round residents find quiet solitude on this island, surrounded by rugged wilderness. In June of 1990, this idyllic smallmount community lay in the crosshairs of a devastating raging inferno that will leave an indelible mark on the community and its residents for generations to come.
So did they put you immediately to work? Or?
Oh yeah, cheap labor. First day we were up messing around the houses, cutting line up there, getting rid of shrubs and stuff like that.
So you're doing kind of prep around the house?
We're doing yard work. Basically, that's pretty much what we were doing. We were getting rid of overgrowth, anything around the homes that could have been fuels for the fire.
I had homeowners meetings on Saturday. The fire broke out on Monday. One of the things we talked about was evacuations, and I think it was very fresh in a lot of those people's minds. To me, it was a big nightmare. For example, we lost all of Bonita Creek, you know. I'll be truthful with you. I had never been able to get together with Bonita Creek people. I failed in actually convincing them somehow that we had a problem up there.
I think we worked straight through the night. I think we were cutting line at that point. They pulled us out of Bonita Creek. Oh yeah, they dropped us off on the street, on the road, on the dirt right there next to Walkmore, not too far from it.
You guys are working basically the rest of the night cutting line.
Yeah. Well, they had sent the dozer through the prior day first, and then they came through a second time while we were in there.
We established a strategy which was, at this point in time, focused on Bonita Creek subdivision. And we are already, by that time, we're experiencing some downslope winds on the fire that early in the evening. And our strategy at this point in time is to get some dozers in here, put a line to the control road, continue with this road up in this manner, and begin a burnout here.
Kent Swartzlander, who was the Plumas hotshot superintendent, they were the ones doing the burnout above. So one of the investigators says, I talked to Kent. They started handline on the southwest side of the fire working east. The crews worked there until they realized the fire was outflanking them in its run to the south and east. All the crews abandoned this line. Prescott hotshots had shown up by this time, and Plumas and Prescott made the decision to pull out to the area where their vehicles were staged. They were directed to the Bonita Estates to help with structure protection, prep work, and burnout. Plumas walked up Walkmore Canyon. They passed Perryville. Perryville was clearing the power line right away up to the estates. This approximately 0500.
If someone would describe to me the scene where you have turbinella oak and manzanita brush up against the siding of wood structures and under the eaves with a ponderosa pine overstory, if someone described that to me as a firefighter, I would say, no, that's not savable. I couldn't imagine that Bonita Creek would get burned up because we had never lost a subdivision at that point in Arizona It seemed unfathomable that we would lose an entire subdivision. I knew Bonita Creek because our family had a cabin here and had sold it right before the fire. For me, it was a wonderful opportunity to come back to this little community that I was really familiar with, and I knew people and they were very nice, and so I was happy to come here. You know, we were just like a bunch of wild savages, really. We would go fishing. You know, we would have a 20 feet a fishing line and like a number 10 or 12 hook. And we would find whatever we could and we would throw it. You had to kind of stock up on the pools. You couldn't just walk up to the pool.
Now, would that have been at Dude or?
It was further west, Weber. But I could see the fire that night up skunking around up there, but I couldn't figure out how far away that was. Not up on the rim, but down below here. So I was a strike team leader, and I was dispatched to the Dude fire with a strike team of engines plus a water tender, and that's 5 engines and a water truck. I was briefed at the ranger station, and I was going to be in charge of structure protection for Bonita Creek. I drove around, I kind of remembered where everything was, I drew a map. I kind of came up with a plan of how I would try to do structure protection for the community. To begin with, we were going to need water, and we went to work developing water source. We worked through the night starting to do the structure preparation. So our actions were going to be to protect the homes on the north side of the subdivision to keep the fire moving south into the subdivision. So they had a dozer line that came up from Walkmore and tied into the north end of the subdivision, and the hot shots were burning out. And that was a good plan. I mean, that was a reasonable strategy to protect and keep the fire north of the subdivision.
Oh, the fire was actually started by lightning. These flames behind me were caused by man. The firefighters set these. It's called burnout. Try it again.
Great stuff. Do it now.
Although the main fire was caused by lightning, these flames behind me were actually set by the firefighters as part of a burnout to try and protect the property.
Right? The truth is relative, right? Truth is perspective. All right, so yeah, my name's Curtis Heaton. In 1990, I was a member of the Prescott Hotshot crew, and we had been part of the extended attack on the Dude fire on June 25th. And we came in late that afternoon, early evening, and we'd worked the fire direct through the night. And sometime about 4 o'clock in the morning, I think they pulled us off to go in direct down here in Walkmore Canyon. And that's where we hooked up with the Perryville crew. So we worked with them through the day, prepping around the homes, clearing the power line. And then we got assigned down into Walkmore Canyon with the rest of the hotshot crews for the burnout operation. You couldn't see the fire, but you could see the glow. Like how you got a glimpse through the Mogollon Rim right here? So there would be like the glow. And, you know, the crew's kind of tired, we're walking, but you could hear trees falling, rocks tumbling off the rim, and it would echo down the canyon. And you could, like, hear a single tree torn. It was really creepy.
While the slurry bombers kept dropping fire retardant, residents in the Bonita Creek area 5 miles away kept an eye on the fire, hoping it wouldn't come their way, and watching as the battle from the air continued.
Be just outside the smoke. It's kind of bumpy in there.
The history of fires here in the area, where the fires, they don't usually typically come down slope. The fires want to run up slope or side slope, depending on the winds. And the prevailing winds here are to the northeast. Fires then typically would head in a northeasterly direction. We all knew it had potential, but without having had a slide in our tray to see a subdivision in Arizona burn down, I don't think most of us thought it was likely to happen. So where I'm sitting right now is a spot that I was standing that day 34 years ago and looking over the little edge of this little hill here down into the canyon where the firefighters were working. It was so smoky, I couldn't even see across this little canyon below us. And it was so smoky that I couldn't see the thunderhead that had built up over us. And so I was totally unaware And there had been no communications about a thunderhead building over the fire. All of a sudden it got very still. And if you've ever lived in tornado country and there's that stillness and darkness, and I felt that day, and then we started getting a few raindrops coming down. And we were getting spot fires across the line. So I had to know that there was a thunderhead up there because of the raindrops. And it was peculiar to me that we were getting spots across the line because it was very still. And so where are these embers coming from? They had to be coming from deeper into the fire. I wasn't picking up on it, not in time. The spotting, the change in the weather, the smoke where you can't see anything. And no one is telling anyone where the fire really is. There's not really good communications. So if you think about the LCES that came out of this fire, we didn't have our LCES.
My name is Nelson Roanhorse, and I am a rancher here at Oak Ridge, which is located 20 miles southwest of Window Rock, Arizona. I spent over 35 years working for either the Forest Service or mostly with the BIA, Bureau of Indian Affairs. I was a crew rep for Navajo Scouts 1 and another crew rep named Dave Dennison. He was in charge of the Navajo Scouts 2. On June 26, 1990, we were assigned to the Dude Fire. So when we got there, they were barely setting up fire camps and things like that. But we immediately end up on the fire line with the Baker River hotshot crew. And within the next 2 hours, things really changed for the worse. Wind picked up. We got caught in the situation where we had to split the Navajo Scouts 1 and 2. The plan was to meet with the Baker River hotshot at the safety zone that was already put in place by them. But the other Navajo Scouts 2 end up going back down to Control Road, is the name of the safety area.
We were ordered to go up the cat line up here. We walked about a mile up that way, and we were working up in there. We met up with the Perryville crew. We worked with them for about 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden the wind changed on us about 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. So we realized that there was something wrong. So everybody on my crew, they started running. We start running back down this way.
So we end up going further up. I myself am very glad that we were able to get the helicopter describing the location where we are and what the fire is doing. The smoke is the situation that we were involved in, that we cannot find out exactly where we are except through radio communication.
What we're trying to do is establish routing through the subdivision because the roads are narrow, and we're trying to establish routes for the engines to take, so we don't have enough room for engines to go both directions.
We're at what we call the corner house. We're down below the little hill that we were standing at, looking down in Lockmore Canyon. And at this location, we had fire engines stretched out down this road. We had folded tanks, which are portable tanks that hold the water, and we were ferrying water back from the water source in Bonita Creek to here. And then the crews were working along this road where the houses are, trimming the brush back and doing all the prep work, and putting water lines in and watering down the black line in places where there was still heat from the burnout. So our folks were actively engaged right here. And up the hill, was I always think about, I'm looking at up the hill, I can see the low boy that the dozer came in on because it was burned up when we came back out of the safety zone.
Pat Strickland lost her fuel truck when she ran for her life.
There was no place for us to go with the truck, so we left the truck and went into a burn area with the crews where everybody just sat and waited out while it burned around us.
They call it Zane Gray country. This land beneath the Tonto Rim, as Gray called it. The roots of this land run as deep as its precipitous canyons and as old as the layers of sedimentary rocks laid down and uplifted by the eons of time. The world's largest contiguous stand of ponderosa pines were manicured by nature, leaving healthy space between the trees and large meadows, providing rich grass for forage. This was a land in harmony with the natural systems, a delicate balance of rich, diverse natural resources. The science of dendrochronology, which studies tree ring growth, show that fire was a constant partner in maintaining this ecosystem. For almost a century, the same fire that kept the forest clean was considered an enemy rather than an ally to the natural resources. The policy of all fires being suppressed by 10 a.m. the following day, as well as halting timber harvest, forever changed the once healthy landscape. Gray found both peace and adventure camping and hunting in this vast wilderness. He built a cabin on a piece of pioneer Babe Hott's homestead and wrote most of his greatest works about the strong-willed and self-sufficient people that called this forested paradise home. By 1990, the stage was set. The Tonto National Forest was packed full of small trees and had not seen fire for many decades. An extended drought, soaring summer temperatures, and extreme low humidity became the genesis of a disaster waiting to happen. The firefighters, forest managers, and the people of the Rim country would be thrust into a dire, chaotic situation no one predicted. Worst of all, a crew of incarcerated men and women would find themselves carelessly placed at the front lines of a raging inferno, and history would be lost and changed forever.
We were still watching for hot spots, as Sandy was pointing out that, you know, look down there to your right and look at how that fire's, you know, how that glow is over there, and it's coming over the top of the mountain already. It was already over the top of the mountain, about a quarter of the way over the mountain, and in front of us, it was just crowning. And I don't know if you guys want to hear all this.
Oh, you sure?
You know, and the only reason that I feel I have to say this is because 45 minutes or that half hour, I can't just take one piece out of it and tell you about it, you know, because Sandy and the crew members that you know, that didn't make it out, well, we were close. We were all close. We were family.
Understand.
So Sandy was saying that she would hope that it would start raining more, you know, because we had gotten a few sprinkles. And she was saying, God, I wish it would rain more, you know, so that it would help us put this fire out. And I said, yeah, I wish it would too, Sandy. Come to find out that because of that little rain and the air that came with it, you know, that's what.
The next day, you guys are in Fuller Canyon then?
We were, which was just a little bit over to the east. Going along kind of with the same plan, putting in some line and burning, just to try to keep from a lot of spread to the south. There was a hotshot crew, I believe LeGrand. There was a piece we were tying up in Fuller, and I think they had a short section to go, and they were unable to get it. They were just going to light the bottom and let it go up, and I believe there was some discussion about burning it from the top down, but that's kind of the time everything just kind of took off when the column got huge. It's one of those deals where you realize nobody's going to do anything, just get out of the way and be in a safe spot.
Well, we got flown down here last night at midnight from Portland, and we just been burning things out ever since, trying to keep up with the head, I guess.
What's this fire like?
It's relatively flat here, which is really nice. A lot of the fires in the Cascades, like we train on, are very steep. So this is easy ground.
You're backfiring. What does that mean? What are you trying to accomplish?
The head of the fire is out there quite some distance from these control lines. If we can burn out the fuel between these control lines and the fire, then it will be able to stop. It won't be able to run at us with any kind of force.
Obviously, it's a lot hotter here than you're used to.
It's just smoky.
Between 1000 and 1100, several hotshot crews moved up Walkmore Canyon past the Navajo Scout and Perryville crews. They were hurrying to pick up the firing operation that had just begun to the north of the subdivision. The crews exchanged brief greetings, but did not exchange any operational information. At 1200, a transition meeting was held with the Type 1 and Type 2 operations section chiefs. The Type 1 operations chief later expressed discomfort with the transition, since there was only a short period of time available to interact with the Type 2 team. He also felt that the Type 1 division supervisors had not made a good transition with their Type 2 counterparts. After this meeting, the Type 1 operations chief made division assignments for the new Type 1 division supervisors. The division supervisor that was assigned to Walkmore Canyon later stated that he was unsure of his area of responsibility due to the lack of maps. He knew there were 3 hotshot crews assigned to his division, but was unaware that there was a Navajo Scout crew and a Perryville crew in his division. Between 1300 and 1400, several of the hotshot crew superintendents above the Perryville crew noticed that the winds became calm, and they experienced slight drops of rain. Because of these weather changes, they were concerned about dangerous fire behavior. They discussed these concerns and reaffirmed their escape routes. The Navajo Scout and Perryville crews did not receive any of this radio traffic due to uncertainty of whose division they were in and incompatibility of their radio frequencies with the other crew.
In the 7 years or so that I've been doing this kind of thing, I've never been involved in a situation like this.
At one point you experienced some raindrops and things?
We did. Right there, as it took off in the afternoon there, the column, it was a massive smoke column and almost looked like thunder clouds. We started experiencing raindrops from it, which I hadn't seen before, and just extreme fire behavior.
Hi, I'm Curtis James, and I'm a professor of meteorology at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University here in Prescott, Arizona. A microburst is a downdraft core caused by the fallout of precipitation that's then evaporatively cooled beneath the cloud, and then it spreads out along the ground. When it reaches the ground, it produces very chaotic winds at the surface. We have cold air from this outflow from the thunderstorms that has flowed along the ground, and cold air is being dense, hugs the terrain as it flows outward, and that would allow the smoke to remain along the surface instead of rising with the hot air as it normally does in a smoke plume. So this would be a warning sign that you're in an outflow from thunderstorms, and that's a cause for serious caution. And also, if you observe precipitation in a fire environment, that also would be a cause of caution that you could be encountering very strong outflows that could be driving the flames. So it has to do with buoyancy. Cold air is negatively buoyant. It's colder than its environment, and so it will accelerate downward just like a rock in water. And when it reaches the ground, that will spread outward pretty much in all directions. But it can also be driven by the environmental winds or the storm motion. You have thunderstorms in the vicinity or over the fire. The winds can create very strong outflows that can be directed in all directions outward from those downdrafts. So when you see that smoke hugging the ground, or you feel precipitation falling over or near the fire, that's something to watch out for and to take immediate precautions.
As this cool, dense air sinks, it creates downburst winds that push downwards and out from the column or storm. Like a bucket of water pouring across the ground, these outflow winds race across the surface and alter air currents in their path. Outflow winds from the collapsing column on the Dude Fire exceeded 50 miles an hour.
Granted, by the time we got here, there was already crews up on the line, and
We're in Walkmore Canyon. We're at the entrapment site for roughly half of the Perryville crew. I'm standing next to my old lunch mate who's sitting down here 33 years ago. Is that right? Yeah. That's right. This is Bill Davenport. In 1990, Bill was on the Perryville crew, and he reminded me that we sat next to each other and ate lunch right up here by the corner house. Before we split ways, Perryville came down here, Prescott a little farther up.
Working our way down, clearing brush, clearing everything basically off the dozer line, because the dozer line came down that hill right there and intersected with the stream and went all the way down to the control road. Not until we got out to the control road. I'm freezing, guys, so I got a fever right now. Helping again.
Bill's fighting cancer.
I've got stage 4 cancer of the pancreas, the lungs, and what's the stomach. Thank you. I've actually got the same cancer that killed John Wayne.
First name is Jeffrey, last name is Hatch, H-A-T-C-H. I was a crew leader of the Perryville crew that was on the fire line, basically.
It's probably one of the greatest tragedies that has so much good that came out of it.
What were your concerns for her?
She wasn't ready. She wasn't trained. She didn't go through any of the training and all the stuff that we did, and we weren't even fully trained 100%. She just wasn't ready for it. I mean, don't get me wrong. And she tried her best. So I take nothing from what Sandy tried to do. Should she have been there? No. We were loading up at the prison, getting ready to go to the fire, and I was demoted because I was putting such a big protest up about Sandy. So I got demoted from Squad 1 to Squad 2.
Did she ever take the step test?
No.
Did she ever do shelter training?
No. She watched us. She came out and talked to LJ there one time while we were doing it. But no, she never participated.
And LJ's Larry Terra?
Yeah.
So she never participated in that. Had she ever been on a fire before the Dude Fire?
No. That was her very first fire. And I can tell you this, I want to say it was about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock the next morning, she was done. She was dragging like you wouldn't believe.
Did you see Larry Terra ask her if she would like to go down to go get the water for you guys?
I never even saw Larry Terra after the first like 2 hours of the thing. When he demoted me, he put me on squad 2, and so we were the tail end of the whole thing. In between squad 1, which is where Tara was, and squad 2 was the Navajo 2 crew that was there.
Who was running the chainsaw right then?
I believe it was Chacon that was running it. At that point in time, we thought we were just about done and going to be going home and getting some rest. And me being demoted, my radio was taken and given to JD. My radio that I had at that time was basically just an inter-squad type radio. I said, why don't we get some radios? And they said, oh, well, we'll work on that. Just let's get up there and get going right away. We'll get the radios out to you guys that you can talk to Central Command. Even the Navajo 2 crew that was with us didn't have radios that could talk to the command. Dave Latour kind of related to us that we are going to be moving from, because we were cutting around cabins and stuff like that, that we were going to go down and shore up a dozer line.
Did you guys ever have a lookout on that fire that you can remember?
No.
Did you ever have lookouts on any fires?
No. No, we never had anybody trained to be a lookout.
We'd been out of water for a while. Talked on the tour about having us some water dropped off. Larry, Tara, and I, finally Larry says, come on Fred, we're gonna go get water. So, this must have been after 1. So we walked back down the dozer trail to the vehicles. Well, down at the bottom here, there was a pumper truck. There was a pickup truck with a Yamaha 3-wheel motorcycle in the back. Our vehicles were parked right there. We walked up. We got 4 5-gallon containers of water. Yeah. So we loaded the 20 gallons of water on the Yamaha, tied it on there, and he drove the water back up the line to our crew. Tara and I started walking back. We hadn't even hit the dozer trail yet when he was coming back down.
And this was all unburned. You know, the fire was supposed to be up here, right? The fire was supposed to be here, and down here was supposed to be unburned and safe. And we were in the process of burning out this canyon, bringing a black line all the way out, burning out the dozer line. Perryville was assigned to hold this piece of line. The hotshots were burning it out and bringing black to them. And the hotshots held up about 2 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock. They quit burning because the fire behavior was getting so intense. It was getting too hot. It's like, we're just gonna let this settle down. We're in a good spot. You know, we got some black around the head of the houses, and everybody thought if we just wait out the afternoon and we'll pick up, when things settle down. Well, what happened is all that energy we were pumping into that 28,000 foot pyrocumulus stopped. So it's like feeding a fire in a chimney, and then you stop feeding it, and it cools, and that ice cap fell through the atmosphere, cooled the air, and it was like taking a giant fan that was blowing up and turning it and pointing it right down and blowing it right down on the fire, with the Mogollon Rim acting as a backstop.
So I got a call from the crew rep for the Perryville crew, told me that they were getting some spot fires, and could we go down and help with put a hose lay down. And so before I sent my people down, I wanted to go see what was going on. I said, let me come down, because that's outside of our area. We were kind of assigned here. Got down there, found the crew, and the crew was resting. And so what I was worried about was like, oh my gosh, one good puff of wind, and that creeping around in the leaves can flare up, and it can be in the canopy and start on fire.
We all know we made mistakes ourselves here. I made a mistake when I went through camp and didn't get any information, even if it wasn't there, and it wasn't at the time. And I came up here, followed a division soup, and I wouldn't do that, and I quit doing it after that. But the fact that there was information out there and not getting the people should be a hint that then don't send them out there. Put a roadblock down at the hill and let this place go.
I
Now here's the dynamic that I think played into it, and I carried a large amount of guilt over this part. I was with the fire department and was the union vice president. I was in leadership in the union. Dave came from rural metro, private fire organization, obviously non-union, and in my way of thinking, taking jobs away and for low pay and that sort of thing. So that was my thinking in 1990. And I was concerned for him and the crew, but I was afraid to say anything. I was afraid to speak up because I didn't want to start a fight. I got nothing from Dave. Dave never said anything to me, but I didn't want to start a scene. Rather than grabbing him by the shirt collar, as was I wanted to do, and say, "You guys got to get the out of here. Look at all this heat right on the line. You're getting spots across the line. You know, I should have done something, but I didn't, because I didn't want to cause any problems." As soon as I turn around and start walking back up, I'm on the radio talking to ops. "Hey, that situation down there with Perryville's not good. We got to get them out of there. They got spot fires and this and that, and they need help." And the ops chief told me, "Well, go ahead and build hose lay down to them, start helping them with mop up." I get a call from my water tender driver, Rick Ferguson, and he's back in the subdivision. And he said, "We're heading out of the subdivision. Your access is cut off." My back is to the fire. Here's a subdivision in front of me, and Rick is half mile into the subdivision. And he tells me that there's fire in the subdivision, your access is cut off, and he's making a run for it. And I thought, well, how can that possibly be? The fire's over here. And then I heard radio traffic about fire being at Control Road. Again, how can fire be at Control Road? The fire is north of me, and Control Road is quite a ways south. So I'm hearing all this traffic that's not making any sense to me. Have no concept that the fire is making a run.
Dick Cook, who's a ranger from the Gila, and he came up with a Type 1 team, and that's why he and I were walking this. I was showing them this line, and when we got down here, my pickup was already down here, and so we took him up to the top there where all the vehicles were at, the fire engines, the top of the road up there, and then I came down, and things were really going to hell then. So I was telling people to get the heck out of here. And do you remember where we used to have the one engine just up the road? Right. It's a clear spot. Right. Yeah, that's where I was putting people as a safety zone.
Well, we had our safety zone was a gravel pit back here. Pat, what's your last name?
Velasco.
Okay, give him your whole name.
Patrocinio Frausto Santa Maria de Los Angeles Velasco San Mavici. That's my mom called me.
Wow.
She called me pendejo for many years. Pendejo. I really thought that was my name.
I think we all had that name when we were younger.
Vente pendejo.
Yep.
Edison Nota is standing by the saw cut that I just filmed a moment ago. He's now going to point off to the west in the area where the flames were as you look west. Go ahead and do that, Ed. All right. And then he's now going to point over to the northwest where they saw flames on the ridge area.
The fire was creeping down the slope there. It wasn't ground, it was on the ground.
Approximately a third of the way down?
Yeah, right there.
And so the Perryville crew was working from here north, and your crew was working from here south, and you folks...
We were intermixed. Squad 1, Naval Scouts 2 were working right here with the Perryville crew. They had the chainsaws, they were cutting, we were swamping. I heard a thunder-like sound, and the sky got real black. And my cousin goes, "How's it look? Watch out for me." So I stepped back from everyone, and I walked over here, I tried to look to the north, but I couldn't see anything because of the tree line. So I came back a little ways, maybe about 5 yards, and came up this little slope here. And I looked up to the northwest and to the west, and you could hear thunder roll of a firestorm. The sky was getting black, so I got scared. And I said, run. Then everyone kind of looked up and took a little run, but they hesitated. So I walked down here and I said, all right, everyone, run.
34 years ago, at exactly this time, you guys had just heard "Get Out Now," and you saw the Navajo Scouts at Notah and everybody start running. What's going through your mind right then, and what are you feeling right now? 34 years ago, exactly to this time.
Get out. That's all I could think. Scared to death. I was running. It was time to go. Run faster to fire or let it catch up and kill you.
How about you, Patrick?
Well, at first, I didn't hear the get out. I heard somebody yelling and I thought that they were going to do a slurry job. I turned away from it and I got into a tucked position just in case one of the Navajo crew members hit me on top of the helmet and pointed up. At which time I looked up and the fire was completely crowned on us. That's when it was get-go time. Once the initial shock and awe set in of the dangerousness that we were found in, it was just run. It sounds easy enough to say and do, but in that situation, one, I'm running with the chainsaw, and two, you're thinking of who made it and who didn't. That was probably the most tragic thing that was running through my mind. Did anybody get caught in it?
Swirling wind, you know, with flame and smoke. It was going like to the south. All I remember is starting to run. I don't remember if I threw my tool down, but people just started running. And all I could see was about maybe 10, 15, 20 yellow shirts in front of me. So we took off down Walkmore Canyon and started running fast as we can.
The people that were running included Perryville people.
Right. Everybody that was here started running. Here, I was kind of like in the back. It was Eldon and Lewis Lane moving south and crowning on the other side of the ridge.
I heard somebody yell it, I wasn't sure who, about it's Preston and get the out of there. And they all took off down the road. I was standing there with Alex Contreras, and we looked back, and we seen our boss was back there with a few other people. I guess maybe 25 yards at the most. But I guess they had heard them, and they were starting paying attention, but it looked like all hell broke loose going down that road with them, all them other people. So a pretty good gap got in between us.
Way out, can't quit, life or death, don't stop running. Safety's around the next bend. That's all you thought about. It was just running, not stopping. If you stopped, you could die. You just kept thinking that safety was around the next bend.
Perryville crew was full behind us when we got out here, and I don't know what happened then. There were some vehicles here. We just bailed into any vehicle we could find. We got out of here.
To see the Model 70 had a flat tire on the outer dual, and they talked about changing the tire. And I thought, no, we'll just wait till we get back on the control road. Mike Hanna in the pickup in the UTV, he's like, do I need some fuel? And yeah, I think I'm gonna go back for fuel. So that's when he loaded up, and he said, all of a sudden, here comes you guys and the Navajo Scouts running down, and they jumped in the back of the truck, and they jumped on the back, and they said they melted the taillights off.
The chainsaw was left there on the bumper as I climbed up and over the cab because I knew that there were other people that were sitting up on top of the hoses.
Had some challenge coins made for the engine, and so this is an engine 48 challenge coin. Yeah.
I seen the end of the last of the people going around the corner, and the fire come right across it.
You and Alex started running at the same time?
Yeah, virtually at the same time because he was about no more than 10 feet behind me. I looked up and I'm not sure if he was running and it came across on him or he was running and it came across in front of him. When I was pulling out my shelter on the ground looking up, it looked to me like he ran into it. So I seen flame come across him. As I was turning, I seen that it was coming over the top, and at that moment I was taking my pack off and pulling my shelter.
You guys ready? Go ahead, deploy.
It looked like they was going around a bend. Threw my shelter out, and I was real lucky because it popped open in a way that it's never popped open before, and I dove in. I just had time to get my hands in the corner and my feet in the corner, and it was gone. I ran up about 10 paces or so from my pack because I had fuel in my pack.
Come on, Scotty, get in there.
I mean, it literally dropped right in front of us, and we couldn't go any further. So that's when everybody hit the brakes, and I seen how close everybody was together. That's probably why I ran back.
Did someone yell deploy, or did you all just naturally do it?
I was already deploying when Latour finally said it. I actually had the shelter out of its bag, and I was working on getting my backpack off when I heard him say deploy. When we did our training, as far as practicing on the deployment part of it, I think I was either first or second fastest, and I practiced a lot. There's no way I wanted to get stuck outside of a shelter. There's no way I wanted to get stuck in a shelter at this point. Running back up the hill, I seem to remember Chacon. I remember James Denny, and I vaguely saw Bachman over here somewhere running back and forth doing whatever she was doing, but she was in panic mode at that point.
Did you see anybody helping Sandra?
James Denny or Joke?
Denny.
Was it Denny that tried to cover her up at some point? I guess her shelter got away from her.
And so it was just a wall of fire, probably 90 foot tall. I mean, maybe 100 foot, maybe 80. And it was like just stopped. It was the strangest thing because typically when you see that kind of fire behavior, it's going to be moving quickly, but it was just like a wall. You know, I didn't realize the dynamics occurring in the atmosphere and the movement. So while the fire was running through Bonita Creek Estates, it just kind of stopped right there. And not until last year when Patrick and Bill came out and described what it was like for them running out Walkmore Canyon, it finally made sense to me. How they described how the fire was rolling like a vortex, like an inverted tornado. Think of a rolled up piece of paper parallel with the Walkmore Canyon. And so however the winds were funneling, whatever crazy dynamics were going on, where it had crossed and cut off the Perryville crew members was really intense, but out here at Walkmore, it was just like hung up like a rolling, stuck wall of flame. It just didn't know where to go. I had no idea that the Perryville crew members were still in there. So we get our trucks started. They started on the first turnover, which was pretty amazing. We got out just as the fire was right at the base of Walkmore. So we drove down the road to a high point, and I pulled off, and we could see the whole fire running across the rim. We could see the houses burning. You know, everybody else had kept evacuating further to the east. I thought we were the last truck out. And then within a couple minutes, a pickup pulls up, and it was Pat Velasco, the fire management officer here. And Pat continues to be one of my heroes, and he had made a sweep. He'd heard everything that was going on, and he had intentionally drove in here, put himself in harm's way to make sure everybody got out. And of course, he also didn't realize there were Perryville crew members still trapped up in Walkmore Canyon.
We got everything we got was hand-me-down. It wasn't brand new.
Did you guys practice regularly, deploying shelters?
When we got a new batch of shelters that came in, which I say they're not brand new, but we got a new batch in, we would practice with the old shelters that we were getting out, and that's what we would use. We'd take the old shelter, deploy it, do it again. We'd have to fold them back up, put them back in the cases, and just pretend like they're brand new. And that's the way we train with the shelters.
You guys had the first generation shelters, the ones that look kind of like tents.
Yeah, they were tents. There was a whole lot. I know on mine when I deployed, there was a whole lot of pinholes in mine, and I mean, ungodly amount of pinholes. I just don't know if there's a way around that with that type of material, because it is fiberglass with aluminum like foil on it, basically. I don't know if they've got something better than that now.
The condition of these.
Aluminum foil. Why would you want to be in this?
Shake and bakes.
So you guys, when you would do your shelter training, you used your own shelters?
Use our own shelters.
The ones that we
and then we packed them back in their little room that they stuck in.
So all the time you're doing the practice training, you're basically destroying those shelters. And
every time we pull them out and get in them and do our thing, you're killing the strength of them.
Yeah. So it's no wonder that James Ellis shelter didn't work. And
it's no wonder why Hatch's didn't work. Yeah. I personally can't imagine. I mean, I just can't fathom it. I really can't. No way.
You're inside the shelter. You're down on the ground. What are you thinking?
I was actually singing Amazing Grace. There was two other guys praying loud enough for everybody else to hear them. What else can you do? I did hear Dave Latour say to deploy, and then I heard him trying multiple times on the Perryville crew is deploying. Perryville crew is deploying. He over and over and over again into a radio that he was not getting through on because nobody's contacting him back. He was definitely upset, but we all were. You know, it was life or death right now.
What does it sound like?
It's a freight train. Comes through and it sounds like a train. The roar is just really hard to describe that roar. Intense, rumbling, earth shaking. You can actually feel it as it's coming through, because it's not only happening on your body, it's happening everywhere on the surface as it's going through, so you can feel it. It was probably 10 minutes until the next one came.
And you're just still huddling down in your...
I was still underneath, then you start hearing all the stuff dropping as it's burning out of the canopy, and then not too long after that's when the ground stuff comes through.
Curtis Springfield let out a blood-curdling scream and said that he could not take it anymore. And that's how I think David got screwed up, how Dave Latour got screwed up, is because when Curtis Springfield got out of his shelter and bolted, I think he tripped over Dave and tore his shelter up. I think that's how Dave's shelter got messed up.
I just chucked my chainsaw and I started going back down the line to get the rest of the guys to move. Dave Latour was there, stayed in one place as people were going by him. Then we got to the point where Dave said, "Whoa, stop, turn, let's go back." Because the fire at that point in time had crossed over our line, basically. So we started going back. There was like a little opening in between trees. And I told Dave, "Do you think we should deploy right here?" He goes, No, let's keep moving. Then I finally looked at Dave again and I said, "Dave, I think it's time we deployed." And then he goes, "Yeah, you're right. Let's deploy. And that's when we all started deploying our shelters. I knew that we weren't going to make it. We were not faster than that fire. And we were in great shape. And Sandy definitely was not making it.
I mean, for the most part, they would have had a lot more people dead if it wouldn't have been for them guys.
the first night you walked up right up to here and then went right up there.
That way?
Yep.
So the Navajo Scouts saved your lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they were the true heroes of that day.
Absolutely, 100%.
What were you thinking when you were running?
I didn't want to die. Serious business. I mean, I was the youngest one on the crew. I was 22 years old. And I didn't want to die.
What do you remember about James?
He shouldn't have been here. He should have been going home. Yeah, should have been going home. I remember watching the stuff basically go from the tops of the trees to the ground in a split second. Boom! And that's what cut us off. And that's when I knew at that time that it was serious business. I needed to get out of there.
When you get to the bottom towards Control Road and you saw Larry Terra,
He was down there taking pictures of us running out of there. That's what Larry Terra was doing.
When you got to the control road, what was there?
I just vaguely remember federal fire truck going by, an engine. I was on one of my buddies' behind, and he jumped up inside this truck in the back, and I was right behind him. I remember like jumping right on the side of the edge with my shovel in my hand still, and that's pretty much how I rode out.
Amazing.
Here's one of your cuts right here. Did you guys ever have lookouts?
No.
On any of the fires were you on?
No, I was on 3 fires. We never had any kind of lookouts.
Did you know where the designated safety zone was that day?
Absolutely not.
JD. Yeah. Not cool, man.
Did you know of the escape route?
I knew which way to run. I just stuck with what everybody else did. So
you were just following everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Springfield.
They're that close, huh?
Yeah. Well, remember Curtis deployed up here and came down.
Wow, they were all that close together, huh? Wow. Sad didn't need to happen.
Nope.
It's lucky we're still here.
By the grace of God.
Yep. God rest our souls. Our brothers.
And sister.
And sister.
Sandra was kind of like a sister to y'all, wasn't she?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a...
It's kind of like the den mother.
Yeah. An aunt.
Yeah, I call her den mama.
She was a sweetheart.
You know, she wasn't much older than we were.
That should be right there. Shouldn't be Sandra Bachman. That should be. I'm gonna tell you that right now. The main thing that I remember running along the side of me was an elk thing. I remember looking over at the elk, and the elk running along the side of me, running absolutely the same way I was running, right down that hill, right to that control hill.
Curtis, I remember he tripped over me a little bit. I left basically the crew after the first wave hit us, and Curtis had tripped over me. I tried to help somebody else, and then
Who were you helping?
I was trying to help Sandy there with hers a little bit.
Was she out of her shelter at that point?
Yeah, her shelter was pretty much gone. JD was also trying to help her. I heard more of the screaming coming from Sandy, and I kind of picked up my shelter enough to peek and see, and then that's when I saw JD. I said, let me see if I can help too. As I jumped up, my straps that were on my foot, they kind of singed off or broke. So my shoulders just started flapping, and then at that point in time, I said, heck with it, I'm just going to try to throw this over and take off. I'm not going to make this. And
They were a little further up the road now, and this is the site where 2 people were found under one fire shelter.
I turned around though after I threw my shelter kind of on her, and I tried to take off my shelter, kind of grabbed me around my helmet and just kept going with me.
So it kind of had melted to your helmet.
Yeah, it melted to my helmet basically, and I took off and just kept going, and I said, I want to get away. I don't want anybody to see me dead. I don't want anybody to see me. I even remember running up the line and then saying, okay, God, I'm all yours now. Do what you want. I've done my part. And somehow he just kept me going. I don't know what he did something to me to keep me going, because doctors said there's no way in hell I ran through 2,000 to 2,500 degree flames like that a quarter mile. After so long of running, it was just like I just couldn't stop running. I just kept going. And then, of course, I ran into people up there, and they went through all kinds of hell to get a helicopter in, to land and to get me out of there. And
This is the approximate area where we observed Jeff Hatch, the injured firefighter, walking up the line, basically out of the smoke and fire. At this point, the fire is making runs. We were able to get the EMTs down here. As soon as they arrived, we knew we were in a dire position, and we started moving back towards the subdivision.
JP, Lindsay, and myself, we're coming up the canyon, and we got this guy Hatch that was when the three of us ran across him. He was on fire. He was burning up.
So there were approximately 8 or 9 people carrying the stretcher, and you know, trying to secure our own safety at the same time. Once we were secure in getting there, we took the injured firefighter up into the black, and at that point created a helispot and called some Sawyers up from various crews to get that place opened up so we could pull him out of there.
Dave Nemi said when he was part of the rescue team for Hatch, you know, trying to get Jeffrey Hatch up the cat line to the safety zone. Nemi's a pretty experienced firefighter. He's doing the math. They weren't going to make it. And he said, in his mind, we've got to drop Hatch. And he'll tell you, if he was here, he's so glad that he never voiced that. And he's so glad that it didn't happen. And he lives with that thought in his head that he was that close to dropping Jeffrey Hatch.
Jeff Hatch had run through that fire and was burned badly. And the fire is burning heavy. We can see it making these runs. We don't have any time to dilly-dally. And the medics, not recognizing the danger we were in, they were doing what they would normally do. They're trying to get an IV started, get them on oxygen. They were doing their medic job. And I had to yell. And I always say this, you'd never yell on the fire ground because it just causes confusion and causes anxiety. But I had to get people's attention. We had fire making runs towards us and just laying down right before it would burn over us. So I yelled, let's go, let's go, let's go. And we got him in the Stokes basket, and we started carrying him up the line. And the firefighter dropped a bag, and he was trying to lift it up over his shoulder. And I ran on past him. And then I stopped and looked back because he wasn't coming. And it was so bright orange that he was just a silhouette of black. And finally he turned around and saw the danger we were in, and he left because I kept yelling at him, leave it, just leave it. And so he caught up, and we made it right back here, the corner house we refer to it as. And we were taking a breather, and we were standing behind this house trying to keep away from the radiant heat of the fire. And the tree right above our heads torched off. Then once the tree above us started torching, then we just kept going up.
This house is probably one of the most significant places in my entire career in fire, because this is where I thought I had the most opportunity or the most chance of dying.
Tell us about the helicopter pilot.
He picked me up, and his orders were he was supposed to pick me up and take me down to base camp, change me from his helicopter to the other one, and take me into Maricopa Medical Center. And he said, I'm down, where's the other helicopter? They said, it's en route. 30 seconds later, and he says, where's the other helicopter? And they said, it's 5 minutes out. And he flat out just said, people, I'm taking them. Hang on. He said, we're going. And he took and lifted off and took me to Maricopa Medical himself. He wasn't waiting for the other. He says, I went through Vietnam. I'm not going to let another one die out here. And he just took off. I owe him my life because he got me. I would love to meet him.
We're going to find this guy.
A couple of the guys claim they saw the helicopter clipping trees, limbing trees as he came into land. A lot of the guys we worked with were Vietnam veterans. And that would have been SOP for those guys, right? Just another day. So that helicopter pilot was pretty damn heroic.
Then we kind of stumbled and found our way to the safety zone. Now, when everything started to go bad, the operator of the dozer brought the dozer back down the line and started clearing out a good black area that was already pretty black and safe. And he started doing some more work in there with the dozer. So I don't remember exactly, but I think there was 6 hotshot crews sitting in that safety zone with my strike team of engines. I'm guessing maybe 150, because then you got all the press who were with us. And that was, that was unexpected. I think there was 4 or 5 press people plus the PIO.
And those guys just showed up like, oh, we're going to go film some fire stuff.
Right.
And they almost died.
No clue what they were coming in. I had no clue what they were coming into. And so we're all sitting in the safety zone and we're listening to the subdivision burn.
Just to try to get it. The concern has reached the point now that we've been moved away from the road where we were to an area that has already been burned. The feeling here is that if the fire comes through, there's nothing left to catch fire here and we'll be safe. Try that one again. Does that make sense?
Paul Gleason started down. I started down behind him. And we got down to, I made it as far down to where I had met the crew when I went to see what was going on down there. And then I started to see some signs that I didn't want to go any further. And I didn't have it in me. And I told Paul, I'm going back up to the truck. And he was a man on a mission. And he went down further and found at least some of the fatalities. And he came back up and he and I drove back to camp. And those images messed him up. What made him come up with LCES? He came back up and said, his words to me were, those bastards didn't stand a chance. They didn't stand a chance. And so he spent the next few years thinking about what could have saved those guys. And I think he did an incredible job of boiling down our 10 standard orders, and he boiled it all down to LCES. And that was due to his intelligence that he was able to think it through. And I think that is a bottom line thing for our folks to keep in mind. Do I have LCES? Because no one could see where those guys were at. It was too smoky. Communications? They didn't have communications. They had communications with me, and we weren't even on the same division. Did they have a good escape route? Well, everybody's escape route is good until it's not. And then safety zone, is the S. Safety zone, they had no safety zone. None of us had a safety zone. We thought our safety zone on the engines was to haul ass, get out of here, and get out of the way. If you were doing a training video, you wouldn't come up with anything quite that outrageous, because you would say, oh, okay, well, that's just you're just exaggerating. But that's what happened.
At the Department of Corrections, it had been a somber day. Employees wore black bands around their badges, mourning the 6 that had died battling the blaze the day before. One member of that crew was still battling for his life.
He was rushed to Maricopa Medical Center with severe burns on his face, arms, and legs. 27-year-old Jeffrey Hatch was one of the Perryville prison inmates who volunteered to participate in the firefighting work program.
Said it felt like he was doing something worthwhile, and that it put meaning into his life.
And if Jeff recovers, his mother believes he and the others who survived should be released from prison.
I think they've served their dues to society. When you compare the thousands of dollars that the society has saved by them going out and fighting those fires at 50 cents an hour.
Judith Hatch says many people forget that prison inmates are human beings. Jeff has a younger brother and a mother who believe in him and pray he will make it.
I want to hug him, and I can't. But one day soon I will.
Never thought I'd be going back to prison.
Right?
You did what?
We used to turn shampoo bottles into cups, and we insulated them the whole 9 yards. It was hilarious.
What was your favorite shampoo bottle? What brand?
It was generic. I don't even know what
So what's it like going back to prison, boys?
Interesting.
Yeah, never thought I'd be back here.
I've been back here so many times.
Is this a little full circle?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's it feel to be on the other side?
Feels great.
Yeah.
And you both have turned out to be just awesome
Never came
people,
back.
good men.
Never came back. I didn't want nothing to do with this place.
Yeah.
How many surgeries and things did you have afterwards? And did they let you out of prison?
Oh, I had to serve my full sentence in prison. The DOC didn't want me out. They didn't want me to be out and have access to attorneys and all that. So they made sure they kept me in. Surgery-wise, they had $100,000 set aside for me to take and do medical treatments and all that when I got out. But every time I tried to take and do it, you had to apply for it and let the federal government know. They kept saying, no, we won't approve that. After about 6 or 7 times, I just gave up.
What kind of surgeries were you trying to?
I was trying to get plastic surgery, try to take care of some of the scars and the different things to fix them up and make it look better, and none of it, the federal government kept saying, no.
Rose Mofford pardoned all the deceased. Why do you think that she didn't pardon the rest of the crew or even you, who was critically burned?
From what I understand, and I have it on a good resource, DOC didn't ask, Department of Corrections never asked for us to be pardoned. Rose Mofford, from what I understand, would have.
The person that should have been pardoned is Jeff Hatch. Yeah. And one day maybe, and he's burnt over 40% of his body. Do you think they would have pardoned him? No, they sent him back to prison to finish out his time.
I woke up in the hospital with Larry Chera and Warden Matthews hanging over top of me while I was asleep, hovering, and opened my eyes, and that's when I got the story I was supposed to say, which is basically keep your mouth shut and blah, 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 and now I'm dying and I don't care.
What does that feel like mentally when you know you're not allowed to speak about something? Because you haven't even told your family.
My family has never heard the story, but I don't want them to live through that. And it's pretty significant walking past that many bodies, and having to hear that many people dying.
It's always been about what was right and what was wrong. But from the very get-go, 34 years ago, we knew something was wrong. But we were in no position to do anything about it.
Listen to a bunch of prisoners.
And we should point out something about these 5 inmates who died. It was made clear at today's ceremony that all of the dead had applied to be on that fire crew. They were not assigned, and they obviously paid the ultimate price.
Bruce, what about any funds that have been set up to help the families of these victims?
It was also announced today that the Arizona Department of Corrections will have a fund set up, and anybody who wants to donate can donate to the department, and they will pass those monies on to all the families of those who perished.
A fund has been set up to cover the burial costs for the 6 firefighters. Donations should be sent to the Arizona Department of Corrections. And Heidi, the Department of Corrections director, has asked Governor Mofford to consider pardons for the 5 inmates who died.
To help family members, contact the Department of Corrections for information on 3 different funds at 542-50.
If you can't afford your own cigarette, right? I said, I'll tell you what. One of your guys has to chew on.
Yeah, this stuff is too important not to put out there.
because one of the big ideas behind this is so that doesn't happen again, right? I mean, that's what we always talk about. We don't want this to happen again. Lessons learned. We give away that information freely to that person behind you, because someday we're not going to be here anymore. It's about giving away that information freely and making them better than you.
It's also addressing the mental health as well. Being able to talk to each other. That's, Steve and I was in that picture a long time ago, and the picture. We haven't talked about it. We lived it. It was produced. It's at the fire center. It's in my house. It's in your house. And we look at it every day, and we think of each other, but we haven't talked about it. Why not share those experiences, not only with each other and heal from those tragic days, but share it with other people so that way they realize that they're not alone. We're all in this environment. We're having tragedy all the time, and we got to come together and talk and share and learn and not be afraid to say, I need help.
What do you think about the fire crew?
I think it's a good program.
It's an awesome program.
I think they need to keep it up. I think we need some legislature, though, so they can get the benefits that they deserve.
Yeah, leaves a lot to be desired as far as...
It's like California. I mean, come on, California, they do it for their inmates. I mean, we should do the same thing. We need to step it up. We need to step it up.
Prison is exactly how the movies portray it. You've got your different races that split up and do different things, and prison is exactly like that. But when you're on the fire crew, it didn't matter what you were.
We're all brothers.
We were all one team, one brother. Even the officers that went with us, Tara, Sandy, Bob, and all.
They were all brothers.
They were all brothers. We were all a fire team. You take us back to the prison. Tara was a guard. We didn't care about him. Sandy was a counselor or whatever. We liked her. We didn't care about her. That's in the prison. But when we went out on the fire line, we were all a team. So it didn't matter.
And you were like family.
We were like family. Exactly.
We're family.
The overall story is way outside of just us. We've got a lot to learn from it, and we're going to continue to learn from it. And it's staff rides like this that open the eyes and keep everybody safe.
Got to watch out for each other, because that's all you got. Is each other. That's it. Ain't nobody else going to be out here watching your back.
It's probably one of the greatest tragedies that has so much good that came out of it. Yes, we lost six firefighters. A bunch of us got hurt, injured, but there's so much good that has come out of it because of that. And the amount of firefighters that have been saved because of that tragedy.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you feel about this new memorial?
I like it. I mean, it's great to know that they're honoring the guys. It doesn't matter what we were there as far as prisoners or regular people. We were there doing the same job as everybody else. To me, it's a great honor, not only for the ones that died, but for their families. So if they can see this and they can say, okay, my child that I lost is something. He was something. And that's the main thing, is everybody to know that we were people too. No matter what our circumstances was prior to that, we were here fighting just alongside everybody else.
How did it feel walking up here today? How does it feel for this to finally come to fruition?
I'm honored to be up there to represent the guys that I was there with. I love the new crew that the Perryville has put out, even though it's a totally different makeup from ours. But to me, it's an honor. It's not even an emotional honor. It's just an honor that they're getting recognized for their sacrifice that they gave.
And you sacrificed too.
I gave up a little bit of skin here and there, but hey, what else can we say?
Okay.
Thank you,
everyone for coming. He was ready. He was ready to go home. That morning when he ran to the bus, 6 a.m., he called us at home and he said, I'm going home, I'm going home, I'm going home. And he ran and got in the bus. I'm going to God's country, he said. I'm going to God's country. All the glory and all the honor goes to God.
Amen. Amen.
A brother will lay down his life for another brother. There is no greater gift. And that's how we saw it. For everything and anything here in this journey, there is a reason and a purpose. We can do better. We will get stronger and more courageous if we get to know the Creator. That's why He allowed to happen what happened. Absent with the body is present with the Lord. That's why Alex knew he was going home. He was ready. And there is no better home than heaven and eternal life. We honor them, but the glory goes to God.
Another morning, boots hit the floor. Off to some place they've never
35 years ago, a lot's gotten better. But there's still a lot more to be learned.
As they pray to the Lord, their soul to keep. Fire rages over the mountaintop.
Things have been changed, but there's also still a lot more that can be learned from both of those instances. Let's take Yarnell for an example, and let's learn from it.
We need to have that open, honest dialogue.
Well, we're getting more and more input communication-wise, and what was said here and what was directives that were set forth. We can take all of those and compile them, and rather than point fingers, let's learn from it.
So y'all can make it back after all the smoke clears. United we stand.
Today's a big day, Bill.
Yep.
Here's where we go find out.
See what the numbers are.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thanks.
As the ashes burn over the wild lands.
Got some news.
Patiently waiting for that call.
Stomach cancer is no longer there. They can't see it at all. I don't know where it went, disappeared. And the tumor is no longer visible. They can't see it, so now the surgery is an option now, and it wasn't before, so we can go in and do the surgery and get the bad stuff out of there, and I can live a nice long life.
So they literally
Cancer-free.
so they can't find the tumor.
They can't find the tumor. Right now, there's no tumor at all.
So you're stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
And stage 4 stomach cancer, and both are gone. You know.
It's a miracle.
It's God.
As the ashes pain